Hello, hello, everybody. Carolyn Williams here with Money Reverse. Come right on in. We are here to talk about financial literacy. Where are you? Financial literacy, where are you? Thank you for joining me. If you're here live, just in the comments, say hello. And if you want to know where you are, just put a question mark in the comments. What that does, number one, is it lets me know that you hear me and that it's kind of like my little sound check. And it also lets me know you're out there. So, hello, everybody. Welcome. It is April, the time of this recording. This is a recording that is good for any time. So if you miss the live and watching this on the recording, it's okay because this is a timeless conversation that we're going to have. And this is about where are you now with financial literacy? The reason that I want to share this is because it's April, and April is National Financial Literacy Month. Hello, hello. I see Christy, Lee, and Denise. Hey, y'all. Hey. I get all excited when I see that you guys are there with me. But it's April, and April is National Financial Literacy Month. So for financial geeks like me, this is where we just really geek out and want to just kind of share with you too much stuff, honestly. And let me tell you what my real thought pattern is every year for Financial Literacy Month on my social medias, I do a few things. And what I've done in the past is I would share something that's helping to give you more financial knowledge. And I would do that every day. You know, a series of memes and links and articles and different things. And I go live a couple of times and do a teaching. But what I really came to this year is I wanted to say, how do I know if I'm sharing what you need? And because my prayer is that I'm sharing with many people, there's no way that I'm going to meet every single person's need, hitting the nail right on the head. That's not possible. But then I thought, can you tell me what you need? Because a lot of my followers, you guys have been here. I mean, the individuals that said hello in the comments, I know you. I have hugged your necks before. I know you. You aren't just random people that just stop by. So I see a lot of you a lot. The question is, if I ask you individually, what do you need right now from a financial literacy point of view? Would you be able to tell me? And then I thought, well, how would they be able to tell me? They know a lot of times people know what they want to do, but is that really what you need to be focusing on right now? So what we're going to do in this session is we're going to ask that age-old question, where are you? The same question that God asked Adam and Eve when they were in the garden hiding, and they knew where they were and God knew where they were. But he said, where are you? And, who told you was naked? So I'm not going to ask you about that question about being naked and nothing like that. It's not that kind of party. But let's get into the conversation of financial literacy. Where are you? So let me just share a little bit with you. If you find that this is something that you think is beneficial for you or those that you know, go ahead, share this out on your timeline or tag a few people. Say, hey, come over here. There's some good teaching over here. So come right on in. What I want to share with you is, first of all, is this survey that I started looking at. I told you when I was really thinking about this, I'm thinking, how do I give you guys what you need? And so then I started reading on what other people needed. And then I thought, well, that's not the people that I'm reading about aren't the people that are here. But I do want to share some of this information because I want you to know what's going on out there. There is a survey that the Federal Reserve does once every 3 years, and it is called the survey of consumer finances. So there's a group of consumers somewhere that's on the Fed's list, and they survey these individuals, and they survey them once every 3 years, not every year, once every 3 years. Now, once every 3 years, I think is very interesting right now because of where we're sitting. At the time of this recording, it is 2024. 3 years ago was 2021. And so if it was 2021, they were asking about 2020, or in some cases 2019, which we all know in 2020 is when COVID hit and we had a major financial adjustment that happened across the world, not just in your house and my house, not just here in the US, but across the world because of the global pandemic that hit. So there was a lot of differences in finances for businesses, for people, for individuals, for countries, in the government. The macroeconomic environment just kind of swished. So that was a very prominent time to be doing a survey. So it's very interesting that they did this survey, and I want you to take a look at it. I'm going to give you just a couple of key things from this survey. And it was for the time period of 2019 to 2022, and this was released in October 2023. Anytime you see any of these surveys like this that are, large surveys that's polling thousands of people, it's going to take them at least 7 to 12 months to publish what they found. So by the time they get it to you, it's going to be it's going to be old information, but it's good information. So don't think, where's the survey that's going to talk about what people did last year? That'll come out in a year and a half. Okay. So this changes in U.S. family finances from 2019 to 2022. And this is here in the U.S. So one thing, income, when these individuals were surveyed, and I have more information. If you want more information about this survey, or if you want this survey, just put something in the comments and I can get it to you. This is free public information. So, I mean, I'm that geek that just downloads all the stuff from the Fed and the Bureau of Economic Statistics and all of that. But let's talk about the income that was found out. What happened from 2019 to 2022? Income rose roughly 3% for families. Now, what we saw, that this rise was widespread, and it was across different family races, age, your urbanicity, your wealth status. It didn't matter. Incomes rose here in the US. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One thing was there was an influx of money that was put in the system during the pandemic through, extra unemployment resources, through financial stimulus, through tax rebates, or not tax rebates, but tax credits, which means individuals that owe tax would owe less tax, through tax delays, which means if you did owe tax, it was delayed, through just a whole lot of things that was done to put stimulus in the economy. That's what led to all of the inflation that we have now. So I'm not surprised at all that incomes rose 3% for families, and it was across the board. It didn't matter where you lived, what your race was, whether you're in the city, in the rural areas, it really didn't matter. Another thing that we saw from 2019 to 2022 was net worth. The net worth is your true net worth. Take what you have, take away what you owe. That's your net worth. So what we saw was the real median net worth surged 37%, and the real mean net worth increased 23%. So there's a narrowing of the wealth gap. It's remember how there was always a saying, the wealthier is getting wealthier, the poor is getting poorer. That's not true. That's not true. Not here in the US. And I hope that you see this and know this. I'm going to explain a few things. I hope you see this and know that there is an abundance out there. And statistics are showing this. If you're in a situation where you're operating in lack, and you find that you're continually operating in lack, I need you to check yourself. I need you to check yourself. I say it all the time. There is an abundance out there. There's an abundance out there, and that abundance is being felt by everybody. Praise the Lord. Again, when we saw income rise, it didn't matter whether you're in the rural area, black, white, Hispanic, Indian, it did not matter. Incomes rose. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the net worth. When we look at the mean net worth, that's what we call average. So if you have 20 people that gave you their net worth, you add up all of their net worth and divide it by 20. That's the mean net worth. Okay. Now, the median, when you see the word median, that is the midpoint in all of the values. Let's take those same 20 people that gave you their net worth. If one said my net worth was 6.8 million and one said my net worth was 200,000, that middle number in the middle of that whole range of values, that's the median. That's the median net worth. So let's look at this again now that you see that. The median net worth was 37%. So you can see that of this range of values that these individuals that were polled, the middle amount was 37%. Now, when you add them all up and divide them by the number, the net worth increased by 27%. Okay, so with that, people are worth more. You know how, some of these old sayings that I know is like, you're worth more dead than alive, meaning if you got life insurance that covers you, your life insurance is more than what you're worth right now. So alive, you ain't worth nothing, but when you're dead, you're worth the face value of your life insurance. So the net worth of what you are worth when you are alive, that is improving here in the US, looking at from 19 to 2022. Now, something else that we saw, debt. 45% of families had credit card debt. There are several other things about debt. This is just a couple of things that I want to point out. 45% of families had credit card debt, and that didn't change from the previous survey. The survey prior to this one, 45% had credit card debt, and in this one, 45% had credit card debt. The amount of the credit card debt had decreased and housing debt remained unchanged, meaning the amount of debt by percentage that was associated with residential mortgage loans, that didn't change. So debt really didn't change a whole lot in 2019 to 2022. So these are just a few things. And as I go through sharing more, I'm going to share more information about this survey, but I just wanted to point this out. And the main thing that I wanted to share with you is that there's abundance out there and individuals are doing better with what they have. Now, if you're doing better with what you have, I want you to tout yourself to say, I'm doing better, exclamation point. Does that mean that you're getting a whole lot more? It may not, but it could mean that you're making better choices with what you're doing. You're being very conscious of what you're doing. You're being very aware of where you need to make adjustments, and you're making those adjustments, and that's improvement. So with that, I want you to know that this is what's happening across the U.S. between 2019 and 2022. I think the 2022, when they come again and do another survey, we've gone through a couple of years of high inflation, and which your skills at managing money really was put to the test during the high inflationary times. Because if we didn't know what it is we needed to do to improve our situation, high inflationary times will teach that to you, because everything costs more. You're going to have to look at what you're spending, buy differently, spend differently, so forth, so on. So let's kind of go a little further here. And I want to share with you this roadmap to wealth. If you have been to any of the Kingdom Wealth teachings that I do, and I do this for Heart Fellowship Church in Prosper, Texas, which is my church. It's a virtual program. It's Kingdom Wealth. It's every fourth Thursday. And in this, we teach about the roadmap to wealth. How do we move into wealth doing things from a Christian biblical perspective? This is the roadmap to wealth that I created and that I share in those teachings. Take a look at the flags that are along this path. You got spend management, giving, saving, set 1-year goals. All of this is around rounding a path. And then way down there, down the road, you see set 3 to 5 year goals, giving, and that red flag is invest. You go around the corner, down the hill, and there's more giving. There's giving and saving across this at all times. So this is the roadmap that I followed to move into wealth. And this is the roadmap that I teach. And what I followed was really what was directed by the Holy Spirit over a number of years. This is just what I learned. I didn't know that I was learning it to teach it. I was just following what God was directing me to do. And lo and behold, now I'm teaching this. Isn't that something? If you'd have asked me 20 years ago that I would be a financial teacher, the answer would have been no. This is not what my degrees are in, and this is not something that I felt qualified to do. But following this roadmap, it did get me to a point where people wanted to hear what I had done to get there. So now, as we go through this same roadmap, I want to reference this a little bit and say, when we talk about financial literacy is really about having those financial skills and wisdom and using them so that your financial life is efficient and effective throughout your lifetime. So with financial literacy is having the information and the wisdom. Having information is great. Having book knowledge is a great thing. But if you have book knowledge and don't know when to use it, that's just really that's not where we're trying to go. We're trying to apply wisdom so that the book knowledge gives you information so that when it's time for you to use those skills, you definitely have what it takes to do that. I got 2 pair of glasses here. I keep changing. I don't know if you guys noticed. So I put those others over there so I can just use 1 pair of glasses. Okay. I was wondering why I was looking different. So with that, let's talk about financial literacy. It is April. It is National Financial Literacy Month. What I want us to do is figure out where you are right now. If I ask you, what do you need from a financial literacy session? And if I told you I'm going to do 4 financial literacy sessions free right here on my social media, and it's available for you and your family and anybody else that you deem would be appropriate, what would you ask me to teach? If you know what you would ask me to teach, put it in the comments, whether you're watching live or on the replay, because I really want to hear what you want to teach. But I think if you don't know what you would really want to hear, and this is what most people do, when I share what I'm going to teach, they say, yeah, I want to learn about that too. I go, well, I'm thinking about teaching this. I go, yeah, that too. Or maybe I could do something on this. Oh, yeah, count me in that one. Once I bring up the subjects, then, people are like, yeah, that's what I want to learn. But they couldn't tell me that that's what they wanted to learn before then. So what we're going to do is assume that we're looking at a map. I really like to think of this as a mall marquee. When you go to the mall and you go to that podium in the center that has the marquee that shows you all the stores there, and you're like, oh, look at the big anchor stores. On each end, there's always a huge department store. Those are called your mall anchors. And so you always look on the end and look and see who are the major department stores that are here. And then you may have one on each end. And then if it's a huge mall, you'll have them on the opposite sides too. So those are your anchors. And then you have all these stores that are in the middle there. And those are your, very important stores, and you can tell by the size, but those are not your anchor stores. So you go to that marquee and you kind of look around and you kind of look at the marquee and you look at the colors on there. If anybody's looked at a mall marquee and has done this, put in the comments, say, I've done this. So I'm thinking about this mall marquee and I go, ooh, then I start looking at the list of stores. And then I go, ooh, they got this particular store here. Oh, yeah, where is that one? It's in the blue. So let's see where the blues are. There they are. It's right there, store 217. Okay, that's where I want to go. But the most important thing that you need when you're looking at that mall marquee is you got to know where you are right now. When you're looking at a map, you got to know where you are right now. It's going to be very difficult for the map to give you usable information if it's to know where you are so that you can know what steps that you need to take to get to where where you want to go. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through some financial literacy topics. These by and far are not the only financial topics out there. To have a base to start, I just used that roadmap and picked a lot of the topics that are on that roadmap to wealth diagram and said, let's kind of look at those topics and determine if any of these topics, where we are in terms of these topics. Doable? Okay, let's do it. What I want to share with you is a self-assessment. What we're going to do is we're going to look at 5 topics. I think there's 5 topics. There may be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think there's 5 topics. And I want you to track your score by topic, and I'm going to show you how to score. So if you have a pencil, don't have a pencil and piece of paper or something to write with, please do that now. Grab that or grab your phone or something where you can take some notes. You got a few minutes as I go through how the scoring is going to work. What I'm going to share with you are questions that are about each particular topic. Each topic is going to have 4 questions associated with it. And if you answer yes to any of these questions, then I want you to take that question number and add it to your total. For example, when I show you question 1 for spend management, if you answer yes for question 1, you put 1 under spend management. If you answer no for question 2 under spend management, don't put anything. If you answer no to question 3 for spend management, don't put anything. If you answer yes for question 4 in spend management, put the number 4 in your spend management total. And so for spend management, your total will be 5. Okay? And we're going to do that for 5 different topics. Now, let me know if you have any questions. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think, but sometimes I use a lot of words and don't make things clear, so don't hesitate to ask questions. Let's go through and do this self-assessment of financial literacy topics, and let's see where you are. Let's go. For the first one, let's talk about spend management. Spend management. Here is our 4 questions for spend management. Question number 1. I am planning and tracking my income and spending monthly. If you answer yes, put a 1 under spend management. Now, let's go back and let's share what spend management is. Spend management is just that. It's what most people call budgeting and managing money and managing by a budget. I don't use the B word. I use spend management because this is what you're actually doing. You're managing your spending. This is what all successful companies do. So therefore, all successful financial people should also have spend management. Spend management is very important. Most companies have entire departments or multiple departments around spend management, around how we spend money, when money leaves the account, when money comes into the account, which is called cash flow. When do we buy things? When do we not buy things? And then they have most companies have another whole procurement department to determine if we're going to buy it. Do we get 3 bids before we buy it? Do we make sure that we buy at the time that's best to buy things? When do we go to market? And what do? We don't overbuy. We buy what we need and get the best price for it and then manage our spending. That's spend management. So most people call it budgeting and they don't do it. But when you say spend management, you go, that makes sense. To me, I'm excited about spend management. Budgeting feels so restrictive, like it's going to stop me from doing something with the money that I've earned. So I don't use the B word. I use spend management. So number 1, the question on this topic is I'm planning and tracking my income and spending monthly. If you say yes, add 1 for spend management. Number 2, I know my monthly living cost and work to stay within these boundaries. I know what it costs me to live every month. I know that I'm going to spend roughly, $230 a month on heating, electricity, whatever that is, air conditioning and heating. I find the number that I know is within my reasonable boundaries, and I work to stay within those boundaries. Meaning, if things start going awry, if the cost of electricity goes up, then I'm going to adjust my thermostat. I'm not going to just start spending more. I'm going to adjust my thermostat some. I'm going to start putting on sweatshirts in the winter time so I can adjust the thermostat so that if it costs more, I'm not going to use as much. So I know my living cost and I work to stay within these boundaries. If you say yes, add 2 to spend management. Number 3, I adjust my spending when unplanned expenses come so I don't always impact my savings. To think that when we have a spending plan, it's going to go exactly like the plan is really unrealistic. Things are going to happen in an unplanned things are just going to happen. That's just normal life. And when that happens, I adjust my spending so that I don't always adjust my savings. It doesn't always impact my savings. And what that means is if I had a flat tire, and if you drive any type of a vehicle besides an economy vehicle, if you drive a truck or an SUV or a large vehicle or a foreign vehicle, a European vehicle, tires are not inexpensive, and the price of tires have gone up over the last 2 or 3 years. So if I have a flat tire and I don't have an emergency fund, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to not buy something else this month, just so I don't put it on a credit card and that I don't get to the end of the month and say, I just won't put anything in savings this month. And my spending plan is savings. And so what I'm going to make sure is that I do save. So this question is, do I adjust my spending when unplanned expenses come so I don't always impact my savings? Meaning I'm not going to have to go in my savings and I'm not going to fall back from not saving because unplanned things happen. If you do this, say yes, and you add 3 to your spend management total. And then the 4th question for spend management, I'm taking specific steps to improve how I manage my everyday spending. Meaning I don't have an idea that I'm going to manage my everyday spending different. I don't have a plan. I'm not just saying that I'm going to manage my everyday spending. I have specific things that I'm doing to manage my everyday spending better. And some of those things, let me tell you some of the things that I do in this area. Number 1 is I look at what my spending costs are for my monthly expenses. And I say, let's make sure that I stay within those boundaries. That was question 3. But then for question 4, what I do is I may say, let me go and look at all of my bills that are coming in. If the bill has changed, I want to go see why it changed. Because sometimes it could be usage that made it change. Sometimes is that the service provider is just charging you more money. I need to know why this is changing. So that's something specific that I do. And then I also set a goal every year to lower my living expenses by a certain percent. And I do this in my business and in my personal life. So how am I going to lower my expenses? And I look at competitors. If it's insurance, then maybe it's time to shop around for different insurance. If it is for grocery, maybe I need to look at some other things that I do with grocery. And mainly what I do is I cook and I put food in the freezer so that I can still have cooked food. Even if I don't cook every day, I can still go pull out a meal and have a home cooked meal instead of driving through getting things that's very expensive and not so healthy for me. So I do specific things to improve how I manage my everyday spending. If that's you too, put 4 in spend management. For your spend management total, add the numbers that you have. The total max amount, the best score you could have for spend management is 10, which is 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So write down spend management and write down what your total is. Okay. And we're going to get to all of these at the end. Let's go on to topic 2, debt. Let's do a self-assessment as to where you are in debt. Now, what debt is when you have paid for something and you have taken possession, no, you have taken possession of something, but you have not paid for it yet. You've taken possession. You have this thing in your possession. You're driving the thing. You're living in the thing. You have eaten the thing. You got on the plane and went to see the thing. You bought the thing. You brought it home. You're wearing the thing. Whatever it is, you have it already, but it's not paid for. There's a bill that's coming in for that. There's a bill that's coming in for that. If that is your case, then that is debt. Now, what's not debt is things that you pay for as you use it up, like Netflix. You use it, you pay for it, you use it. If you don't pay for it, they cut it off. You know, your expenses like your gas and your electricity, gas for the home, gas for electricity, those are not debt. The only way those become debt is that you put them on a credit card. So debt is most times those things that you have gathered. You're living in it, you're driving it, you're wearing it, you did it, you went to the Six Flags, you went to the concert. That's debt. Okay. So we're not talking about your insurance payments, your Netflix. We're not talking about your insurance premiums. We're not talking about your car insurance. We're not talking about, paying the electricity for the house. Okay. Everybody understand? That's what debt is. So now let me ask you 4 questions about debt. Question number 1, on your scoring, go ahead, put debt down and let's add together what your total is. I'm aware of and tracking my DTI levels while working to improve it. And DTI is debt to income ratio. Debt to income ratio. So I should have added the word ratio there. I just call it DTI. So DTI, I'm aware of my debt to income ratio. And debt to income ratio is where you take your debt and you divide it by the amount of your income. You take your debt, if you owe $40,000 in debt and you have an income of $80,000, you take the 40,000 divided by the 80,000. That is 0.5, which is 50%. You have a 50% debt to income ratio. Of relation to your income, your debt is 50% of that. So do you know what your debt to income ratio is? And are you working to improve that? Meaning get more income or get less debt? So if that's yes for you, add 1 to your debt column. Number 2, I'm paying down debts and not increasing my balances. I'm paying all my debt on a regular basis, and I'm working to not increase my debt balances. If that's a yes for you, add 2 to your debt score. Number 3, I have a goal of being debt-free, and I reflect that goal in my actions. That is an interesting one. Let's talk about this. You have a goal of being debt-free. Some people don't have a goal of being debt-free. You say, Carolyn, that's not true. Everybody wants to be debt-free. No, they don't. Everybody doesn't. Because I know individuals that say, as soon as I get this thing paid down, it's time to get another one. As soon as I get this car almost paid off, it's time to go get another one. As soon as I get this house close to being paid off, it's time to get another one. As soon as this credit card balance gets down where I can charge again, I'm going to go charge more. That's somebody that doesn't have a goal of being debt-free. And that's okay. I know somebody that says, I'm going to always have a car payment. I'm going to lease and I'm going to always have a car payment. I'm never going to pay a car off and drive it debt-free. That's okay. That's not my goal, but I know individuals that are like that. So this question is, I have a goal of being debt-free. Number 1, you may not have a goal of being debt-free, and there's no harm, no foul with that. And if you do, and you reflect that goal in your actions, if you have that goal, then your actions are going to be where you're not continually living a lifestyle of debt. If that's true for you, add 3 to your debt score. And number 4, I'm taking specific actions to lower debt or maintain my low debt levels. So you say, if you have a low debt ratio now, you're taking actions to make sure that it stays low. And let me tell you what those actions are. I have a low debt to income ratio. I basically have no debt. I had debt last year. I paid all of that off this year. I made a major purchase last year. And then I said, we'll just wait until next year and pay that off. Sometimes I will carry a little bit of debt because it's been a long time since I've had debt and I need to kind of get the credit wheels working. I haven't had an installment debt in a long time. So with that, I had debt last year, but I paid it all off at the first of this year, and that was the plan. But when I have no debt, what I do to maintain that is I say when I buy something, I must spend cash for it. So that means it may take me 4 months to buy it. I'm going to save, and then go buy it all in cash, meaning I know I'm going to buy it, but I don't buy it right now. Or I go and pull it from some other things. I may have some stocks that I say, this is my ATM. I use the stock market as an ATM. I try to have some things that's sitting in the green. And when I need to go buy something, I just go sell that stock. I got a lot of Amazon stock that's doing really well. So if I have something that comes up and I need something, I'll just go sell my Amazon stock and get the money and go buy whatever I'm doing. That's what I do to stay out of debt. So I have very specific plans and specific actions to keep my debt levels low. If you do too, add 4 to your debt score. Add the total of how many numbers that you put together. The maximum you could have is 10, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, and write on your paper, what is your debt score? What is your debt score? Thank you, Mozilla, for sharing. If you want to share what your score is, you can do that right here. Okay, so now that's debt. Now let's go to the next topic, which is credit. Now, credit is what I want to talk about now. Let's tell you a little bit about credit. What I want you to know is that credit is different than debt. They're first cousins. They're first cousins, but they're different. Credit's not the bad one. Credit's not the bad one. Debt's the bad one. But credit, debt's the bad one. Credit's the good cousin. Because with credit, that is your financial credibility. That is what businesses look at, which is maintained by the credit bureaus based on your past payment history, based on your past credit management. They're giving you a score, and that's determining what your financial credibility is. Credit is very important. So I don't want you to think that credit's bad. Credit's bad if you don't manage your credit. Just like anything that's important, you have to manage it. And when you don't manage it, it looks bad. So with that, let's talk about credit. So I don't want you to think that credit's bad. I want you to think that debt's the bad cousin. They're first cousins, but credit's not the bad one. So let's see what is credit something that you need to focus on and put more energy in? So let's ask these 4 questions. Number 1, on your scorecard, put down credit and add the numbers in for every question that you answer yes. Number 1, I've checked my credit score and credit reports in the last 6 months. If you've done that, put a 1. Question number 1, put 1 under your credit list. Number 2, I'm working to improve my credit rating, not just wishing for it to happen. I am working to improve that. I know what it is and I want to improve it. So I'm doing some things. And so with that, number 2, if that's you, put 2 in your credit column. Number 3, my FICO credit score is 700 or higher. Now, you do know most of us have over 96 different credit scores associated with our name. The reason that I said FICO credit score, because that's important. FICO is king. There are over 96 credit scores that exist for you out there, more than likely. Some of us have more than that, depending on what you do in business. So with that, my FICO score is 700 or higher. If that is a yes for you, put the number 3. Question 3, add 3 to your credit score. Your credit total. Yeah, I guess it is your credit score. And then number 4, I'm taking specific steps. I can tell you what those steps are, and I'm practicing them on a regular basis to improve my credit score. Or if my credit score is at a 700 or above, I'm doing specific things to keep it there. If you can tell me what some of those specific things are, then you can answer yes to question 4. So that means under credit, I want you to put down a 4 in your credit total. Add together the numbers that you put down. The highest possible score that you can have is 10, which is 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, when you add together the question numbers of those in which you said yes. And that's your credit score. Not your real credit score, but that's your credit total. Okay. Okay. So that is credit. Let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about investing. Now, what investing is, when I say investing, I'm really talking about taking funds that you could use for your everyday existence and you are putting them in a vehicle or mechanism in which you're expecting to get a return on that money. You could use this for everyday living. So most people think that, investing is when you have all this extra money and you don't have anything to do with it. No, 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 no. That's not what investing is. It's great if you're there where you have all this extra money just sitting in a pile in the corner and that's the money you take to invest. No, investing is where you're making a conscious effort to forego some money that you could be spending right now. And you're saying, I'm on purpose going to take this money and have it work for me with a goal of having it bringing back a return. That's what investing is. It's a frame of mind. And the reason I say that is because some people say they're not investing because they just don't have a lot of money sitting on the side. Most of us that invest don't have a lot of money sitting on the side. When I started investing, I didn't have a whole lot of money sitting on the side, but I took what I had and I said, I'm not going to be going out and buying new shoes and handbags every 2 weeks after I get paid. I'm going to take this money and I'm going to put it on myself. I'm going to put it on myself, right? Put it on my future. So with that, this is what we talk about when we're talking about investments. That's the frame of mind. Number one, make a list on your total sheet of investing. And for every question that you say yes, write down that question number in your total column. Column those up and we're going to add them together. Number one, I have investments of any kind. You can have stock market investing, real estate investing, gold, collectibles. I have investments of some kind. There are some funds that I could have used for myself, and I specifically took them and I put them in another vehicle in which I am expecting to get a return from that. If that is yes for you, then put a 1 in your investing column. Number 2, I'm fully aware of my investments and their returns. It's okay to have investments, but do you know what it's doing? Because when you're investing, you're not just putting money in, you're also managing it. And if you say, I don't know what it is, but I'm paying somebody to help me with that, then put yes for number 2, because you're fully aware of your investments and their returns. You can do it yourself, or you can pay people to do that for you. A big part of my business is where I teach individuals to do this themselves. And another part of my business is where I am a coach and I coach individuals on what to do with their investments and how to look at them. So with that, if you say yes to number 2, put a 2 in your investing column. Number 3, I have expectations and goals for my investment returns, and I adjust my holding as needed to reach them. I'm not just investing and see what happens. I'm not just inner tubing, putting things out there, saying, okay, let's just see where we go. Let's see where the waves take us in the inner tube. We're just lazying back and just seeing it goes this way or it goes this way. No, I have a specific goal that I'm trying to reach. My goal is I want to have a 10% return on my investments this year. Okay, what are your investments in? If your investments are in something that's not paying right now, then you need to move your investments into things that are paying. Maybe that's something that you can do depending on what your investments are. If it's real estate, that's not possible, but if it's stocks, you can do that. So number 3, if you have expectations and goals for your investment returns and you adjust your holdings as needed to reach those goals, if you said yes, add 3 to your investing column. And number 4, I am taking specific actions to strategically manage and invest more annually. Not that I did it one time 5 years ago and I'm going to see what happens, but every year I'm going to say, I want to add a little bit more every year. If that's you, then add a 4 to your investing column because you said yes for number 4. Look at the 4 numbers that you had. Look at the numbers you have under investing. Add the numbers together. 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. If you said yes to every question, you have a 10. So capture up what your investing total is. And then the last topic that we're going to go through is saving. And what saving is when you have funds set aside for unexpected things. You have money that, again, you could spend this money right now, but a part of your spend management is saying, I'm not going to consume everything that I have. I'm going to set some aside so that when that time comes in which this is needed, I don't have to go ask people or go on GoFundMe or go spend the rent money to get these things done. So that's because you have savings. Let's take a look here. And with savings, there are three type of savings that I like to focus on. Number one is retirement savings, emergency savings, and appointed savings. And appointed savings are when you are saving for something specific. I know that I'm going to need to buy new appliances for my kitchen. I'm going to need a new refrigerator and a new stove. I want to get them the new stainless ones. And so I'm saving money specifically for that, so I don't put them on a credit card. So number one says, I have at least one savings reserve, meaning you have something for retirement, emergency, or appointed, or any other. If you have at least one savings reserve, you have answered yes to question one. Put a 1 in your savings column. Number two, I'm disciplined to only use my savings for those things in which it was purposed. Meaning I have funds set aside for retirement. So I'm not dipping into my retirement when I'm not at retirement right now. I have funds set aside for an emergency. A concert is not an emergency. A Beyonce concert is not an emergency. Yeah, it was a high price ticket, but you don't go into your emergency funds for that. So it takes discipline to do that. I'm disciplined to only use my savings for those things in which it was purposed. Now, I do realize that there are times when you go through a financial winter, you may have to dip into your savings for things that were unplanned. That's completely different, meaning you're in a financial winter that then plans change. So, but for the most part, and on your everyday life, I'm disciplined to use my savings for what it was purposed. If that's yes for you, add 2 to your savings total. And then 3, I'm diligent in giving while also saving. Because as the word says, we have to stay in balance with saving. It is very easy to get out of balance with saving. Excuse me. I'm going to tell you, I have stories about each of these of how the Lord has dealt with me over the years. I have gotten out of balance with saving before. It wasn't with giving, but it was with not buying anything for myself. And I had to be corrected on that. So with that, saving is very addictive. Just like spending is addictive, saving is very addictive. So it's important that we manage it and have it not manage us. So the way that we stay in balance is that you also give when you save, because giving opens up that, giving just keeps you in balance with doing what the Holy Spirit is directing you and being directed by the Holy Spirit on what to do with funds. So when you're saving, I want you to also give. So if you're giving and diligent in giving while you're saving, say yes to that question and add 3 to your savings column. And then number 4, I'm taking specific actions to grow my savings annually. Not just I saved last year, but I'm going to save the same thing and I'm going to grow my savings annually. A way to do this is to set a goal to say, I want to increase my savings 3% annually. That's typically what a lot of corporate increases are, 3%. How about just taking that 3% or whatever you get and just saying, I'm going to put that in savings? It's not going to be enough to make a major difference in, changing any of your payments or anything. So how about you save it? You'd be surprised of what you could do with it when you save it. It looks like a little, but it adds up. Now, that is the 4 questions for savings. Total up the numbers that you have, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. 10 would be the most that you could do. So let's see what your savings score is. Ooh, I'm looking at your scores. Oh my God, you guys are doing great. You're doing great. Hallelujah. Now, let's tell you about your score. This may look a little small to you. I hope it doesn't. It looks small to me. But over here on the right, your score for each topic, look at what your score is. If you are a 10, that means you are mastering this one. Time to advance. It's time to take you to the next topic, because 10 says, not only do I have the information about it, I'm implementing this in my regular life, and I am looking to continue, make this so much a part of my life that I don't even think about it. I'm doing things to improve annually in this area. And I'm also being aware and abreast and aware of what I'm doing. That's what a 10 says. Now, if you got a 5 or higher, you are doing good. Do not frown on yourself if you got 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. What this is you're making it a part of your life, but regular refreshers may be needed. It could be that there's a couple of things that you need to do. Each of those questions, if you saw how they were listed, they were asking, number one, I'm aware of what this is. I'm doing it. And I'm also working to improve. And I can tell you specific things that I'm doing, not just something that I'm talking about, something that I'm doing. So if you're 5 or higher, you may need some regular refreshers, maybe be around or in an environment where you're hearing about this. So you kind of don't lose the motivation to not be weary and well doing. So with that, very good for those of you that have 5 or above. Now, if you're 3 or lower, this may be a topic that you want to focus on. You may need more education. You may need some more tips and discipline and skills and more motivation to jump into this topic and to really get this one where you can master this one. Because if you have mastered one, you can master them all. But you know what? They all won't come at the same time. So this is where I wanted to do is look and say, what do we need to focus on now? And I hope that this has helped you to look and see what you need to focus on now. Now, if you know of these topics, if there's any of these topics that you need to focus on, which means you have a 5, if you have 5, if you have less than a 10, no, let's do it like this. If you have 3 or less on any of these topics, put that topic name in the comments. Put that topic name in the comments if you have 3 or less of that topic. What I want to do is make sure that I can see in the comments which topics we need to focus on more. My goal is to do this 4 times this month. I want to have a lesson, and I'm not just going to come on and give you tips. I want to teach what's needed. So if you are watching this and have individuals that you think could benefit from this, send them this video, tag them, and have them to also take part in this, because I would love to see in the comments what's needed. Throughout this financial literacy month, I want to give what's needed out there for my audience, not what the survey said that people are doing. For the people that I know and the people that are committed to Money Reverse, then this is what we want to do. So with that, now, if you are a 5 or above on any of these topics, but not a 10, put those topics in the comments right now. And so I'll just look and see where this is, and I can tell what those are. And what that tells me is that you know this topic and you're doing some things in this area, but you just may need a little bit of a refresher. You don't need a flat out brand new, this is starting from point 1, but you need a flat out refresh. You just may need refreshers on this. Put those topic names in the comments. And then if you are a 10, I see a couple of 10s in the comments, put that topic in the comment and put a 10 by it. And I'm going to say, yay, you are moving forward in your finances. And then one more thing I'm going to ask of you, and then I'm going to take your questions. If there's a topic that you want to know about, but it's not listed here, I didn't mention anything about it, but this is something you'd like to know more about, put that topic in the comments. Just put that out there. And I want to know what it is. How can I serve you? I see, spend management. We can work on spend management. I love spend management. Oh my goodness. I love spend management. And I want you to love spend management too. I love it. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh y'all. I do. I love spend management. Spend management makes me feel like a boss. It does. Spend management makes you feel like a boss because, your money is not the boss of you. Tell your money, you ain't the boss of me. You ain't the boss of me. I boss you. So spend management makes me feel like a boss. I love spend management. We can definitely talk about spend management. And then anything that you say, Carolyn, it's financial literacy month. And as I think about it, there's some things that I would like to learn, but you haven't mentioned them here. Go ahead and put those in the comments as well. And you can do this now, or even if you're watching on the replay or later, you want to come back and do that. And that's all that I have for today. that is the end of our financial literacy week one. It's not week one, but it's my week one. So with that, stay tuned. I'm going to teach more. We're going to come back here a couple of times. I'm going to release a couple of videos. So that's where I want to know what works for you. And look for me on Financial Fridays. I'm going to try to do these on Fridays, whether I'm live or on the replay, doing a video. I will be doing some traveling here, so I just don't know what broadcasting is going to be like. So I may not do it live. I may just release a video. So go ahead, put the topics in the comments, and we can see how we can serve you during this April National Financial Literacy Month. If you're watching this after April, still put your comments in here because I still want to serve you. Okay, I see debt, credit, investing, and saving are 6. That's good. That's good. That's very good. If you got 6 on all of those, that means you are pretty engaged in managing your finances and managing your resources. That's good. That's good. And I'm going to tell you one thing before I go. Put your questions. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And I'm going to tell you one thing that happens when we really get engaged with managing our finances. It bleeds into the other. If we start working on spend management and you get spend management down, the next thing you're going to say is, now I'm ready to work on tackling this debt. And you're going to do that before you even finish spend management. Okay, now that I'm getting debt down, I need to get this savings. Help me get some saving strategies in place. Help me learn how and where I save. Where do I put my savings? Do I put it in a CD? Do I put it, where do I put it? And now that I got my savings, I really want to know more about investing. I need to really talk about when retirement's going to come. So it all bleeds into each other. It's hard for it not to do that. So with that, when you're managing multiple areas well, that means you recognize that it all bleeds into each other and you're going with it. You're taking those skills where you had success in one area and you're just taking them over to the next topic. So that is great. I love it. That's the way it's going to work with finances. So with that, any questions? Go ahead, post your questions in the comments. I'm going to look to see if you have any questions, and then I'm going to let you get on with the rest of your day. Again, if you found this beneficial and you think someone you know or love could benefit from this, just do a share on your timeline and point people to Money Reverse. Ask them to come and like the page. I'm going to share more throughout the month, and I want to do it in this format where I'm giving you something that you can take away. And go back, if you need to do this assessment again, go back and do this assessment again. And so that you can know for yourself, where are you? There's a whole map of financial topics out there. There's a whole plethora of areas of where you could go, but we got to figure out where you are and what you need to focus on right now. And then that's going to take you to those other stores. You may not go, everybody doesn't walk them all the same way. Everybody does not walk them all the same way. You may say, I'm going straight to the anchor store, and then I'm going to go downstairs over there and then go back upstairs as long as I'm on that side of the mall. Then I'm going to go to the center, and then I'm going to go downstairs to that store, then back up and then go over here. Some people may say, I'm going to stay all downstairs. I'm going to come back another day and do all upstairs. Everybody walks the mall differently. So you don't have to do it just like everybody else. Okay. Would like to know about the DTI ratio. Okay, we can do that too. Some of the things that you're asking for, stay tuned to my Money Reverse Instagram and Facebook pages. I'm going to post some information about those. I'm going to post some memes that has some great information there. So stay tuned to the Money Reverse page and just look at the memes that are posted, and they're going to be about the topics that you're saying. Well, that's all that I have for today. Thank you, everybody. Carolyn Williams here with Money Reverse. It is National Financial Literacy Month, and I'm going to come here and serve you in the way that you feel you need to best be served. I'm listening to you, so talk to me in the comments. And if you have any questions or if this was beneficial to you, just let me know in the comments. That helps me to know that I'm doing something that's benefiting somebody. If it's just benefiting one person, that's enough. It doesn't have to be 500 people here. Not at all. So with that, I'm going to say have a great one. Matter about credit. Okay, question. Even though I'm retired, does it matter about the credit scores and savings? Yes, it does. It does. Let me tell you why. Because the credit score and your savings is not based on your the importance of that is not based on your job or employment status. It's based on what you would do with it. If you think that you're going to make a major purchase, and when you're retired, one thing that you probably will do is you are going to need to get another vehicle. I wish my vehicle would last me all through retirement. I wish it would. You can get one that'll last you 20 years. I got a car. My car is over 20 years old. My car is over 20 years old. And my mechanic says, "Oh, wow, but I took care of this car. I put money in it. I took care of this car." So, but you will need to make a purchase of a vehicle. You can pay for it all in cash. But I think that it is important that your financial credibility remains intact and even improve throughout retirement. And it's because that credibility is used for so much more than just buying things. That credibility is used if you want to open a business. That credibility is used if you want to, move. Look at going to rent somewhere or buy another home, buy another house. It's used for so much more than just buying a car. So with that, yes, it is important. Same thing with savings. You have savings as a part of your retirement. I'm trusting that you do, Denise. And Denise is one of my former clients. So I know that you do have savings. You've done so well over the years, Denise. So what I'm going to say is if we don't manage it, just like when you were in the workforce, if you didn't manage it, you wouldn't have what you have right now. Same thing while you're in retirement. If you don't manage it, it's not going to last. So with that, the savings is important. You may not need to add to your savings, but you may need to manage how you're spending your savings. And if you see that your drawdown is too much, then we need to make some adjustments. Maybe you make adjustments in the spending. Without looking at it specifically, I can't tell you exactly how you would do that, but really managing the savings is important. It may be that you just need to manage your draw from your savings. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Okay, well, good deal. Hey, lady, I see my California lady out there. I said I wasn't gonna call y'all's names and stuff, but sorry, I can't. I can't help it. Hey, Miss Mozilla. Hey. Okay, everybody. Carolyn Williams here. I'm gonna say goodbye, and if you have any additional questions, go ahead, post them in the comments. Have a good one.